Would WWE really do this with Alexa Bliss? And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is and why I think it's not going to happen because it's such a big mistake. Look, Alexa Bliss, we know, is on her way. She is going to be returning to WWE television in 2025. If I had to guess, it's going to be at the Royal Rumble, right? It's where you need to make it happen because there have been multiple reports that not only Alexa Bliss is returning, but she's just not going to be returning in 2024. And as 2024 comes to a close, 2025 is upon us. And there's been this little lull period, I think, in WWE's product right now, and it always happens during the holidays where they had to get through Survivor Series. They already had plans there. They had to get through Saturday Night's Main Event. They already had plans there. And now we're building to Raw on Netflix debut January 6th in LA. Could Alexa Bliss show up there? We're building towards the Royal Rumble earlier in February. I think it's February 1st this year. Someone will write me down in the comments here below. Regardless, could it be where Alexa Bliss makes her big return? Now, personally, I can see them doing it on Raw on Netflix because they're loading up that show so much. Big names, big matches. But I also think that the Royal Rumble would be the best place for it because there's going to be so much happening at Raw on Netflix that she may get lost in the shuffle. And I think someone like Alexa Bliss, the talented Alexa Bliss, should not be shortchanged due to bigger names on the card taking her spotlight away from her big return. I mean, heck, Alexa Bliss has not been seen on WWE television in 2 years. And so by doing that, you need to have an impactful moment. You need to have fans talking, just like they did with Liv Morgan last year. She made her return there. Jade Cargill made her promotional in-ring debut for WWE in the Women's Royal Rumble match. I think Alexa Bliss should also have her Women's Royal Rumble match moment, having her big return. But I was thinking to myself, and it's something in which I've consistently thrown around here on the channel. What would you do with Alexa Bliss once she returns to television? Right? There's multiple ways of introducing her. Is she going to be a babyface? Is she going to be a heel? Is she going to be the tried and true Alexa Bliss character in which she found success in NXT? She found success on the main roster. She found success as a Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. Or would you go back to what you had previously done? You've not only done it once, you've actually done it twice with Alexa Bliss. The Fiend women's version, a female version of The Fiend. Would you go in that direction? During the pandemic, she aligned herself with Bray Wyatt when he was doing the Fiend type character, and they found a lot of success with it. They've also sold a ton of merchandise with the Lily doll thing, right? And so then after that, that pairing went away and she took time off. And Bray Wyatt was ultimately released by the company. She then came back as Alexa Bliss, but she would always carry the Lily doll, right? Then in late 2022, she started to be aligned more with Bray Wyatt again, in addition to Uncle Howdy, who is played by Bo Dallas. And even her last appearance on WWE television at the Royal Rumble, well, she was taken out by Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt. So fans are like, well, obviously she's going to return as that because now we have the Wyatt Six. We now have Bo Dallas leading the charge of the Wyatt Six. So would WWE really put Alexa Bliss back with the Wyatt Six? I'm going to tell you why I don't think so. The reason that I don't think that she's going to be aligned with Bo Dallas and the rest of the Wyatt Six, your Dexter Lumis's and your Eric Rowans and your Nikki Cross, who she does have a history with as well. I think the fact is this. The group has been, I don't want to say a key part of television, but it's been featured on television on a consistent basis. It's a far cry from where it first debuted as a notable thing. It's really kind of fell off a cliff in recent months, right? I mean, they're feuding with the Final Testament and The Miz, so take that for what it is. Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, is not Bray Wyatt. Okay, he was never going to be Bray Wyatt. That act is never going to be as good as what Bray Wyatt could have done with it. I've always made the argument that I don't think Alexa Bliss would want to tread on her history with Bray Wyatt. The reason that I don't think that they would actually put her with the group is just from in my opinion, a very clear way. If they were going to put her with the group, they would have done so already. This group's been on television for 6 months? There's been multiple instances in which you could have brought Alexa Bliss back. There's been multiple instances of where you could have put her with the group, right? You don't want her to get beat or she's not ready to wrestle yet, but you want her on television, they could have put her with the Wyatt Six, right? She could have just been in association. There's also a history with Nikki Cross. They could have explored that. They haven't done that yet. Now, that's not to say that once Alexa Bliss returns, whether it's a babyface, whether it's a heel, but when she returns as Alexa Bliss, you can go into that history. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot of history with her and Nikki Cross. There's a lot of history of her and Bo Dallas and Uncle Howdy. There's history with Eric Rowan, right? There's history. You can play off of that. Not to say you can't. I just don't think it's going to be a situation in which she's put into the group. They already have a woman in the group. They already have, 5 members in the group? Do you really need a 6th? It kind of throws off things. So I think the idea of her going back into that Fiend type character, I just don't see it. And I haven't ever seen it. I just don't think, A, it's going to happen, and B, I don't think it's a good idea. When Alexa Bliss has found the most success in her WWE tenure, it has been as Alexa Bliss. It has not been the supernatural type character. In fact, it's been Alexa Bliss as a heel, which is ironic considering that she's very likable as a human being. She's very nice. And so the idea that she's actually a better heel than she is a babyface is common, but it's still funny at the end of the day, right? It's been like that in pro wrestling for decades. This is not new water that we're trending here, but it's interesting regardless. So, I don't think Alexa Bliss will be part of Wyatt 6. I don't think it's the right direction for Alexa Bliss to be in Wyatt 6, but I can see her feuding with Wyatt 6 and Nikki Cross because there is history. Now, to be honest with you, I would put her on SmackDown. SmackDown's going to be going to 3 hours in January. I understand Monday Night Raw will as well. She's been on Monday Night Raw for a while now. Might as well put her back on the blue brand. She's in fact actually found more success on the blue brand than not. And she was also, even though she was on Monday Night Raw prior to her hiatus, if she did not get pregnant and if Bray Wyatt did not have his heart issues, she would have been on SmackDown. They would have just moved her over there. And she hasn't been on television in 2 years, so I think she's technically a free agent. I don't think she's tied to any brand. Regardless of whether or not she is, they're doing the transfer window where Raw talent can go to SmackDown and vice versa. And then, of course, the draft is coming up. Reportedly, it's going to be in the summer, but it's usually happening after WrestleMania, so that's coming up, right? You can, whatever you want to do in terms of keeping kayfabe, I would put her on SmackDown. I would put her as a heel, and I would put her as Alexa Bliss, and I would put her in a situation in which she can be a title contender and realistically win the championship again.